Hey there, everybody. It's your girl Barbie J here, and we are talking about Tyler Perry's comedy drama, The Oval, Season 4, Episode 16, Problem Diverted. And honestly, in this episode, there was a few problems that was diverted, so it was a good episode. I thought it was a good episode. And, some parts were ho-hum, which you expect, but then there was some parts where I was like, oh, snap. I was like, oh no, one of those type of things. But before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel as of yet, please take a moment right now and hit that little subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, and it'll let you know, and select all, and it'll let you know every time I upload a new video. Then I ask that you hit that likes button, which is the thumbs up button, and write a comment. Because that's how we keep this channel growing, because I enjoy hearing what everybody has to say. And a lot of you are so funny. A lot of you are interesting. And a lot of them of you come up with the greatest ideas. Y'all should be writing the script for TP instead of him writing it. Some of y'all are really good. Anyway, let's get on with it real quick. So it starts with, Richard and Nancy, and he tells her that, she's been drugged by them Rakaduchi peoples, and she doesn't believe him at all. So he tries to get her to remember that the Rakaduchis took her granddaughter Callie right out of her arm from her, and she's like, no, they were so nice to me when I was there, and I played with Callie, and she's doing all of that. And then Richard told Nancy that, he's taking her to the hospital, and she told him that, they healed her, that she doesn't need her inhaler anymore. And he's like, oh boy, but I was wondering, why didn't he tell him what they said? Maybe that'll make her snap out of it, because he kept telling her to look at him. And I thought he was going to say, they said they killed Barry, because I felt if he told her that, it might have made her snap out of the spell she was under, So anyway, then we move on to Sharon. She's at Kareem's door, and she wants to come in, and he tells her that she can't and has to come back later. And she uses her key to open his door, but he blocks her from coming in. And Sharon's she want to know what he's doing and what is he hiding? Is someone in there and all this stuff? And she's mad. And then Kareem somehow just closes the door on her. She's like, what? Right in her face. She's like, what? He ain't never closed no door on me. And Dale tells her to just come on. And she's saying, no, I want to know what he's doing in there. But once they finally leave. And once they're gone, Kareem and his cuz, move that body off the bed. And they put it on the floor, and they said it's stinking in there and everything. And Kareem's like, I'm going to throw up. He can't even take it. He's like, roll him up in the rug, wrap him up. So I don't know what happened with that, because that was the last we saw them. Then we at the hospital, and Donald tells Kyle he wants him to get his wife out of there, and the officer won't let her leave. And Kyle is too happy to leave Lily up in that damn hospital, because he can't stand her. And he asks Donald, you want me to get that biatch out? Why? So Donald says, because they think she's an abused woman. So Kyle flashes his badge, and it still means nothing to the officer. Kyle asked, did Lily, he asked the officer, did Lily say that she's being abused? And the officer replied, no. He said, so why are you holding her? And the officer said, we're waiting for the doctor to release her. So Kyle is like, he said, permission, sir, talking to Donald to, I guess permission to get physical. And he hits the officer like in his throat or chest or something like that. And he buckled over or something like that it was. And then he turned the officer around and handcuffed him. Meanwhile, Donald goes back into Lily's room and tells her to get dressed so they can leave. And Lily's like refusing to leave. And he's like, woman, he's yelling at her and everything. And I'm saying, where are the personnel in that hospital? If you hear some yelling in a room where they think the woman is abused, how come nobody came running in there? Not one person. Where's that damn doctor that gave her sedative and everything? Where are these people in this hospital? While Donald is raising his voice, and Kyle's in the hallway, done beat up the cop, got him sitting there in a chair, and nobody is saying a damn word. I was like, I would hate to be in that hospital. It made no sense. So Lily finally gets up, after she's asking, did you hurt the police officer or whatever, the cop, and said he's a nice guy and all this stuff. Anyway, she goes down the hall with the gown still on, and she sees the officer in the chair with Kyle, look like he's holding him down, and Lily goes over and asks him if he's okay, and then Donald yells to a nurse to get Lily's clothes, and I was like, what kind of hospital is this? So my question is, why didn't that officer open his mouth and yell for help or tell them to call 911 for the police assistance. What the hell? That made no sense to me. It made absolutely no sense. Anyway, then we see Sharon and Dale arriving to Richard and Nancy's house, and this is so silly. But here's some fun part with Miss Jody. So they meet with Miss Jody, who is telling them that they ain't home. That Richard took her out of here, and that three of them funny looking people were here in purple robes, and one had a white robe. And Sharon is like, "What were they doing here?" Miss Jody said, "I don't know. I ain't asked her. You think I'm nosy or something?" I was like, "Yes, yes, you are." And Sharon goes, "Oh no, Miss Jody, not at all." But then Sharon says, she was going to call them, and Miss Jody told her to call while outside so she could hear the conversation. And Sharon said, "No, I'll call inside." Then Miss Jody asked Sharon if she had a key, because she said, "Yeah." She said, "I used to have a key. They took it from me." She said, "Oh, I wonder why." She said, "I don't know. She said, "Did you ever go in there?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Just to look around, looking, being nosy, I said, Lord, Miss Jody crazy. Then she asked her who that white boy you taking into Nancy's house. He said, "Aren't you dating Barry? You messing around with that white boy?" I was dying. She kept calling him white boy. And what's his name? Dale was like, "No, you don't have to worry about that with me." She said, "Why I don't have to worry about? What's wrong with you?" I was dying. He was like, Sharon said, "He's more of I'm more of a sister to him and stuff." She said, "Yeah. He said, "I like more of the brothers more." She said, "What? What's that?" They were like, "Just go on inside." I was like, she better stop. Oh, nosy Miss Jody. So anyway, once Sharon get into the house and calls Mr. Richard, he doesn't tell Sharon what's going on. Sharon tells him what Miss Jody said, and he told her that he was at the hospital and would call her later. And she asked why he was at the hospital and if Miss Nancy was okay, and he told her yes. Then Richard went into the room with Nancy and the doctor, who said Nancy's vitals were good. They always use that line. And Richard asked, about the blood test, and he tested her, and the doctor said it'll take a while for the, results to come in, and he will call Richard, when the results were there. Wait a minute, I got to go back to Nancy telling the doctor, "I like white people." She said, "At least some of them." And I was like, what was that? Somebody got to tell me what that meant. If that's something from Ruthless or something, why they had her say she liked white people? That was really strange. Anyway, so now we see Simone and Eli. She's very sweet to him, and he asked what she has planned for the day. And she stated that she has, a meeting with the Black Press Consortium. And then she asked, could she take Bobby with her? And he said, fine. And then he questioned her, why she asked for Bobby, not Max. And she said, because she knows that he likes Max better. Now we have Max and Bobby. They outside once again arguing like they're husband and wife. They get on my damn nerve with that arguing. Max is telling Bobby to leave Priscilla alone, and Bobby saying she came after me. And then they get into a back and forth about who is better than the other. And then Eli comes to the car and lets Bobby know that his wife requested that he stays with her. So Bobby goes into their house, and Simone asks, has he thought about, what she said, and will he help her? Of course, he answered no, and no, because he doesn't think it's a good idea. She should trust what her husband has told her. And I was like, I thought him and Max didn't trust what he told her. But anyway, she feels that Eli has gotten to, to Bobby, and Bobby said no. And then she asked, did he tell Eli? And again, he said no. And Simone said, well, someone did, because he knows. So then Bobby asked if it was okay if he waited for her outside by the car, and Simone said fine. And now we have Lily calling Bobby, hoping he will answer, but he refuses to answer it. And as he says to himself, I wish she stopped calling me. I said, ooh, uh-oh. So meanwhile, Lily's going, Bobby, pick up, Bobby, pick up. Now we have Sharon and Richard talking, and he asks her to watch after Nancy because she hasn't been herself. And Sharon asks if it has anything to do with that cult being there, and he said yes. Then Sharon said, I told her not to go there. And Richard asked, why didn't Sharon tell him? And she said, because Nancy said she wouldn't go there. Then Richard asked if she'd heard from Barry, and she said no. And he said he's going to work, and we'll see if he can find some way to, find anything out about Barry. Then he told Sharon to call him when she leaves for work and he would come back and check on Nancy. So as Richard is leaving the house, he calls Sam and tells Sam that the cult was at his house. And he also tells Sam that the highest told him that they killed Barry. And Sam was all slouched in the couch, and then he sat up saying, "What?" And Richard said, "If you don't go in there and get that MFer, then I will." I was like, oh, Richard cursing and everything. So they made plans to meet at the White House, and Sam said he'll look into it when he got there. But here's the good part. I don't know how I felt about this part, and this is what I really want people to talk about in the comment section. Then Priscilla comes out into the living room, and where Sam is, and she thinks it's funny that he got his ass beat, and she's laughing. And Sam asks, "How could you bring him here?" And she says, "How could you sleep with her in the yellow room?" Well, that's the yellow room, and that's not your house where you shared with your wife or your husband, your spouse or significant other, whoever you want to say. So he says, that I have no excuse, but you do. And Priscilla says, "No, I don't." And he said, something in my throat, and he said, "Yes, you do. You're just trying to get even. And that's not you." And she said, "Oh, you don't know me anymore." So Sam asked, "Are you saying that it's my behavior that's making you do this?" And she said, "Exactly." And so he said, "I'm controlling you?" And she said, "Oh, stop with that mind games. You know who I am." And I said, wait a minute. Priscilla, you just said you don't know who I am anymore. And then in the next sentence, you telling Sam, you know who I am. Let's get those script writers in here right now, TP, and fire all of them, because this was a big mistake. Oh, it's you who the problem, TP. You wrote the script, huh? I'm like, what? You guys to be kidding. Really? It's like one sentence she says you don't know. The next sentence you say you do know. Anyway, so she's trying to tell Sam that he created who she is now, and that sweet, loving, faithful wife he married is long gone. So Sam said, "Oh, okay. So the woman that I married is gone?" And Priscilla said, "Yes, she is." And Sam said, "Okay. So I'm just left with this simple biatch." Oh, I said, "Oh, no, you didn't." I said, "Oh, no, you didn't." And Priscilla said, "What did you say?" He said, "I didn't stutter." I said, "Oh, shoot." I was on the floor like, oh, snap. So I said, "A simple biatch who sleeps with my coworkers." And she poked him in the forehead and said, "Who the F you think you talking to, Samuel?" And he said, "Somebody who used to be my wife." Then he said he wants a divorce. And she said, "Well, let's go then," acting like she happy. "Hey, let's go." And Sam said it's already been filed and that she can choose to be served there or at the White House. I said, oh, snap. He got to jump on her. See, because she's so busy talking about it and playing games, she should have just did it and got rid of him, going to the hospital, crying all over his bed and stuff, and then go sit there and say, "Oh, soon I'm gonna get you well so I could divorce you." Girl, divorce him sick and busted up. That's all you had to do. Anywho, I thought that was a funny line. I thought it was funny. I don't know. Some of y'all might think I'm wrong, but I don't know. Y'all put it down in the comment section. Give me something to think about. Then we see that guy, David, who was looking for Jason. He calls Sam and says that he got Jason's location and that there are 4 Secret Servicemen there as well. So Sam needs to hurry to the address that he just sent him. And next we have Victoria and Hunter. They're in the bedroom and she wakes him up and tells him to get to the Oval. They go back and forth, you know how they are. And then Donald comes into the room and tells them that they found their son. And Hunter thinks that Jason was never missing, that they had him hidden away. Then Donald says that they found the car he was driving and it's located near 2 persons Jason may know. One is a high school friend named Roman. Victoria said he wouldn't go there because Roman's parents hated Jason. And then he tells them the second person is his assistant, Alan. And Hunter says, "Oh, how convenient." So he thinks, they set it all up and it's a bunch of BS. So Donald told him that he has a strike team ready to go in and that the president should come to the Oval Office with him. But Hunter thinks it's BS, like I said, and he chooses to stay in bed. And then it ended with Alonzo calling Sam and texting him an address saying it's very important that he comes to the address. And, he wasn't giving information. And Sam was like, I'm busy. I got something going on. I can't deal with this right now. What's going on? And Alonzo's not telling Sam because he don't want to talk over the phone. He's scared to do that. So once Sam sees the address that he texted him, he tells him to get out of there quick. They're coming in hot or something like that. And so he hangs up and he tells Alan, and Alan's being stupid, saying, who? What? And Alonzo's like, we gotta go. And at that point, somebody bangs into the door and they throw a smoke bomb into the apartment. Alonzo runs in the bedroom, grabs Jason out of the bed and tells him they gotta go. And it went off just like that. But anyway, it seems like next week, looks like it may be filled with a bit of excitement as well. So we shall see. So that was this episode of, the Oval. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. And I will see you guys in the next video. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.